Thank you very much, Sri Pradeep. And I think the competition between the states is one of the best things to come out of this whole program. So thank you very much. Finally, I want to invite Dr. Jayashankar Prasad to share a few words. He's from Government of Kerala, representing the startup mission in the state. After his comments, we'll go to the question and answers in a couple of minutes.
Good evening, friends, and my senior colleagues on this dais, Srinivas. Yeah, I'm not pitching for Kerala per se because the stalwarts here are much senior bureaucrats and I'll not be able to match up with them. And last 2 years I've been coming here and we've made some pitches on the electronic manufacturing clusters that we're building up in Kerala. And to just tell you a quick rewind of what is happening, Keltron, which is a Kerala State Electronics Development Corporation, was a very known name in the Indian electronic circles. When suddenly after 80s, probably after mid-80s, we started going down on that. And thereafter, the focus has been mostly on software, and the electronics and the hardware part has taken a backseat. Now there needs to be the whole revival of the whole thing, and that is what the entire team headed by Mr. P.H. Kurian as a IT and electronics secretary there is trying to attempt. We've been trying to attempt a few electronics manufacturing clusters under our EMC scheme. We got since Dr. Ajay Kumar also happens to be from the cadre from Kerala, so we happened to get at least 3-4 districts of the place called as notified brownfield clusters. And we came and presented it across to the entire audience, I think, last couple of times. Yeah, our response is pretty much lukewarm. We were just waiting for more people to step in. And we'd like to know what more needs to be done or what is lacking kind of stuff. So I'm basically on a probing this thing to find out, probably give a feedback to my policymakers as to what it is done. So facilities, infrastructure is what we are creating. That's one which is being done. More than the infrastructure, we spoke about the skills. It's one area that has been quite good, but from the educational qualification to the hands-on skill that is required for a manufacturing facility, there's quite a bit of difference. Now, we have been attempting to do a bit of skilling programs in a World Bank aided project called ESAP. We have been establishing something called as a ICT Academy, which is under the National Skills Council. A few attempts in these levels have been attempted. We have been attempting a few institutes which are basically providing skills in the ESDM section also. Now, that is one area which work is happening. Now, having talked about the infrastructure and skills, I think these are the two things, and then the policy. Yeah. So the policy part, Government of Kerala has come out with investor-friendly policy to whatever extent, probably not to the extent what Telangana on a clean slate could work on or Odisha could offer, because this is a pretty land-starved state. We'll not be able to offer a huge furnished parcel of land because Kerala's the land areas are scarce. So probably that would be one of the disadvantages. But then yes, there are people who have been working out of there successfully. They have offices in Mysore, Bangalore and all. SFO Technologies have been one of the good companies to show. We have OEN and quite a few companies which have done decently well working out of the state. Now to come back to one of the areas where I work on right now is the startup part of it, the entrepreneurial attempts that has been happening. 2012 is when Kerala government started very seriously focusing on innovation and entrepreneurship, and mostly driven by ICT, and a lot of youngsters who came up as a startup and they felt that they can do much better. And they prompted the government to come up with a student entrepreneurship policy that when you do your education itself, you can look at it from an entrepreneurial way. So the state launched a student entrepreneurial policy and followed it up with a state technology startup policy. And that is what my society or that agency does. We implement that technology startup policy across the state. Now, as part of this policy, what we have done is we have started going to the school level, where we started distributing Raspberry Pi and other gadgets where people can tinker and then start coming up with that hands-on experience, because you got to catch them young. At a K-12 level, we have been interacting with Intel. They've been associating with us for hackathons and Intel challenges. At college levels, we have created what we call as a boot camps, where they can start working on their entrepreneurial ideas so that you don't lose anything, you don't miss your classes, you don't lose your number of years. Taking forward from there, we have all this incubation facility that we have been building up. Yes, we had some decent good incubators coming up, and the startup mission, which was formerly known as Technopark TBI. Then we had the Startup Village, which is a telecom incubator, which is a public-private partnership incubator. We have an incubator coming up which is already working in NIT, Calicut. We have a few other academic incubators, and one of the recent attempts in electronics has been an electronics incubator which is being set up in Cochin with the support of DAITY and also an institute called IIITMK, which is Information Technology and Management. And this incubator, I think, is one thing which we are pitching very heavily to get more startups come in, be able to work around and then connect with larger ecosystems. One thing we have not been very fussy about is like who should come in. Startups from anywhere can come in. And once our startups reach a maturity, if they go for a place which they find is better for their growth, there is no restriction on them to do so, because even one of our startups have gone to the Electropreneur Park run by IESA, and they are doing decently well, so there's no restriction. But they should not go because of a lack of facility. They can go because of an abundance or a better facility available somewhere. We are open to that. So just to give you a bird's eye view of what we do, so we are building another campus like in Cochin, which is a 13-acre campus where we are bringing in multiple sectors. And electronics today has come into almost all the sciences. Like everyone is using it. It is no longer, like we said about IT some time back. When you thought that IT growth has reached some level, it went into all sectors. Now that every sector started leveraging. And today I think almost all sectors starts leveraging electronics. So then it's going to be a facilitator for a lot more developments in other sectors. So what we are doing is we are creating multiple sectoral incubators under one umbrella, which will lead to a lot more cross-pollination is what we are expecting. And hopefully in another year and a half, so year and a half, we should be able to get our ecosystem in Cochin running fully. And any further questions I can take it as part of the
Thank you very much. So we have another 10-12 minutes or so. I'll open up the floor for questions. But before I do that, I just have a couple of questions for our panelists, and then we'll take it to the audience. Shri Jayesh ji and Pradeep ji, you talked a lot about what your governments are doing to enable this Make in India, but from your perspective, can you share a little bit on what you would like to see from the industry? What have they been doing well? Where are the gaps? What would you like to see more from the industry? So if you can share a few ideas, either of you.
See, the Prime Minister has already given call of action for the industry to stop importing and start manufacturing in India. So just as there is a Make in India campaign, we have our own Make in Telangana campaign. And we do realize that if industry starts manufacturing in India, the competitiveness does not come to it immediately. And therefore, we need to offer, on behalf of the government, incentives, certain benefits. And again, different states, as Mr. Pradeep mentioned, they have come out with a policy where they provide incentives. In fact, every state government provides incentives to the industry, but some states may offer this a little bit more than that. Someone may offer something else more. But if you look at the totality of the package which we provide, by and large, the states are responsive to the needs of the industry. And therefore, in the same spirit, if the industry starts shifting more and more manufacturing instead of importing from, let us say, Taiwan or China to manufacturing in India, that will be a great first step to begin with. And then when I spoke about skilling, the partnership with industry is very, very important, because as industry, they have to tell us what are the skill sets, what are the new technologies they are interested in, so that we start investing in creating skilled manpower in those areas. And for entrepreneurship also, while large companies do have their own innovation centers where some interesting work is happening, but the real disruptive, cutting edge kind of work is happening through startups. So when, for example, in the state of Telangana, when we have put together our innovation policy, we have taken a decision that if the product or service of a startup which is incubating in T-Hub is of relevance to the government, we will bypass all procurement norms, and government itself will become the biggest consumer of that product or service. So the large industries must accommodate or reconcile to that there won't be any bidding, there won't be any kind of competitiveness. And just because we are encouraging startups, we will give some services, some product manufacturing opportunity directly to them. So we need to reconcile with these facts that startups have to be encouraged by the government, and that is how it is. So greater support for this Make in India, Make in the States programs, partnership in the skilling initiatives, and encouraging startups, creating, see, level playing field will not suit the startups. Startups need to be put ahead in that field. And so to reconcile to that and actually support when the government does that.
Thank you very much. Pradeep ji, would you like to add something?
I'll just add a few things. I think Joyce has very nicely summed what the country or the state should expect from industries. Now, at least few states are keen to walk that extra mile. We would like to see, okay, we don't know, maybe as I was telling, we have certain policies, we don't know whether those policies are suitable for the industries or a particular sector, subsector within ESDM sector. Possibly we would be willing to look into any new suggestion that comes. That's the first thing is that let's collaborate with each other and work together to see what would be good for this country, what would be good for the state, and what would be good for the industry itself. So joining hands together, so meeting frequently and discussing the problems of the sector and what extra is required to be done to push this Make in India. That's one. Second, now Government of India has already launched that smart city campaign, and few cities, 20 cities have been chosen in the first page, additional 80 would be chosen, and thankfully, and Bhubaneswar has become the #1 in that challenge. So in fact, the Electronics and IT department in Government of Odisha as well as Bhubaneswar Municipal Corporation, we have slugged for last 6 months and did lot of things with industries from within the country, from outside the country, and that is how the ideas have been incorporated in our DPR, for which we could score the highest in the challenge. But so because of this collaborative approach, what we see during last 6 months, we could emerge as the winner in that campaign. So what we need, that we need a stronger collaboration with industries. We are willing to provide facilities, provide infrastructure. As I said, suppose say in case of Bhubaneswar, it's the second plant city. It is very good in terms of infrastructure, and we are willing to give 24/7, as I say, high quality power. We can guarantee that in a year your power cuts may not be more than 10 to 12 seconds. That is the sort of infrastructure we are putting, and in next 12 to 18 months it will be a reality in Bhubaneswar. That sort of infrastructure we are building with the hope that industries will come and utilize the infrastructure and march ahead. Apart from other incentives, we have a range of incentives we are giving, Telangana and maybe few other states will give. And naturally, it is not 1 or 2 states or 1 or 2 locations which will be able to meet the entire challenge, the demand of the Make in India effort, $400 billion of manufacturing. So maybe we have to think of few locations, if not 5, 10, maybe 15, 20 locations within country where we need to develop infrastructure, come up with good implementation arrangements, and then we'll march ahead. So we would like industries to consider whatever places, including say Bhubaneswar in Odisha, and we are willing to work together to create skilled manpower pool, to create those infrastructure as is required. So only thing that industries need to come, and that sometimes industries have certain inhibition of moving out of their comfort zone in say Bangalore or Gurgaon, Noida. We would like them to think of other destinations like Bhubaneswar.
Very much. I'm sure my colleagues from industry will take that invitation to be very specific and come to you. So I do have few other questions, but in the interest of time, I'll open up the questions for the audience. What I'll request for 2-3 questions, I think we have time. If you can please state your name and your organization and get to the question and let me know who you're directing the question to. We'll try to cover 2 or 3 questions in the limited time we have. Anybody? I can't see.